Hello, I'm Cashman. Let me show you how money really works.
Most people will earn over $2 million in their lifetime, yet still end up financially dependent. Not because they lack discipline or effort, but because they followed a system that was never designed to make them free. If your paycheck stopped today, there's a strong chance your entire life would begin collapsing within 90 days. Because without income, there's no backup system, no leverage, and no structure holding things together behind the scenes. In this video, I'm going to show you the exact system that separates people who stay dependent from those who build financial freedom, including the one shift that turns income into assets and the 4-level path that allows you to replace your paycheck over time. And later, you'll see the small decision that quietly creates a massive gap between two people earning the same income, and why most never see it until it's too late. Because if you miss this, you won't just stay stuck. You'll spend decades working without ever building anything that works for you. Level 1. The trap that feels like progress. Most people are taught a formula that sounds responsible on the surface. Work full-time, stay consistent, save when you can, and avoid unnecessary risk with the belief that if you follow it long enough, everything will eventually work out. But the flaw is subtle, because the system is built around maintaining income rather than creating independence, which means even when you're doing well financially, you remain dependent on that income continuing. And dependency doesn't feel dangerous until something shifts, whether it's a layoff, a health issue, or an unexpected expense, because that's when the illusion of stability disappears and reveals that what looked like security was actually exposure. Do you rely on one income source right now? Level 2. The hidden leak that steals your future. Over a typical working lifetime, most people earn between $1.5 to $2 million. Yet very little of that turns into freedom because it gets absorbed into lifestyle decisions that feel small but compound over time. Someone earning $5,000 a month may gradually take on a $600 car payment, add lifestyle upgrades, and build recurring expenses that quietly lock over $1,000 each month into obligations rather than assets. That becomes more than $14,000 a year and over $140,000 across 10 years. Money that could have been building leverage but instead gets consumed maintaining a lifestyle. And the danger is that it never feels like a loss. It feels normal. If nothing changed, would your financial life look different in 5 years? Level 3. The split that no one notices. At some point, people separate into two paths, not by income, but by behavior. One group keeps earning and upgrading their lifestyle, while the other quietly redirects income into assets that can produce future income. At first, there's no visible difference because both appear to live similar lives. But over time, one path creates pressure while the other creates options, and that difference compounds until it becomes impossible to ignore. If your income disappeared tomorrow, would anything still come in? Level 4. The two engines that determine everything. Your financial life runs on two engines, yet most people only develop one. The first engine is your job, which generates income and sustains your lifestyle, but it was never designed to carry your entire future. The second engine is assets, which produce income without requiring your constant effort, yet this is the engine most people never fully build, leaving them dependent on a single source for decades. When only one engine exists, every month resets because income is consumed. But when both engines are active, income becomes fuel for something that continues beyond your effort. Level 5. The $500 decision that changes the outcome. Imagine two people earning the same income, living similar lives, and facing the same responsibilities, yet making one small difference in how they use an extra $500 each month. One uses it to improve lifestyle, increasing comfort, while the other redirects it into assets that grow and eventually produce income. At first, there's no visible difference, but over time, that decision compounds into a major divergence because $500 monthly becomes $60,000 over 10 years, not including growth, and once that growth compounds, the gap becomes structural rather than temporary. And this is the exact shift I mentioned earlier, turning income into something that continues working. What would happen if you redirected just $100 this month? Level 6. Why standing still is losing ground. Many people believe saving money creates progress, but saving without investing does not protect you, because inflation steadily reduces purchasing power over time. This means the number in your account may remain the same, but its real value declines, creating a situation where you are quietly moving backward without realizing it. Level 7. What real security actually means. Most people define security as consistency, a stable job, predictable income, and routine. But that definition depends entirely on conditions remaining unchanged. True security is resilience, where your life continues functioning even if one part fails, because you have built systems that support you beyond your primary income. And that is the difference between dependence and control. Level 8. The structured path to freedom. Escaping this cycle follows a structured progression. Eliminate high-interest debt that drains your resources. Build a financial buffer for stability. Transition into acquiring income-producing assets, and eventually reach a point where those assets begin covering your living expenses. And this is the 4-level path I mentioned at the beginning. 1. Most people start but never finish because they hesitate when action matters most. Level 9. The identity shift that drives progress. This transformation is not just financial, it is psychological, because it requires seeing money as a tool to build rather than something to consume. Once that shift occurs, decisions become intentional, actions become strategic, and progress becomes measurable. Level 10. The cost of waiting. Delaying this shift feels reasonable, but every year without momentum is a year that cannot be recovered. And because momentum drives exponential progress, the absence of it creates a compounding disadvantage. Level 11. The late realization. For many people, the realization comes after years of effort, when they recognize that despite doing everything they were taught, they remain dependent on active income because they built income but never built systems. Level 12. The shift that changes everything. The people who break out of this cycle do not simply work harder, they change the question they ask, shifting from, how do I earn more, to, how do I make what I earn keep working? And that shift is where transformation begins. Now that you know this, the real risk isn't working for money. It's never turning that money into something that works for you. You're going to need to know how to build your first real income-producing asset, because without it, you'll remain dependent on effort instead of building freedom. If you don't know this, you risk spending decades earning without ever escaping the cycle. This profit strategy in my next video, where I break down the simplest asset building system most people overlook and how to start it even if you're starting from zero. You don't want to miss it. See you in our next video.